Welcome back to Love Like It. Whoa, Love, Life, and Legacy, not Love Like Your Legacy. What? Today's episode is all about budgeting for your time, budgeting for your emotions, and budgeting for your energy. And the reason I'm putting this together is because I see this continuous theme of the people that I mentor and just people in our world, people in the high noon world, who are often running away from life because they're too stressed out, because they have wasted so much time, and that's causing them to feel really negative about themselves. And so they're just in a deficit of time. I don't have enough time, of energy. I'm just tired. I'm so stressed out, and emotion that I don't have any room for the good feelings because I'm too busy catching up with my negative feelings, right? So a huge part of this equation is just that you haven't planned for a different type of life. You haven't created a structure for your life to budget the times of your day to get everything done. And so you're just running behind. And so scheduling in moments for prayer, for fun, for being alone, for being with other people, in and amongst scheduling your days, your work or your school or whatever, when you create this kind of master daily schedule, you can get everything done. Especially over time, you'll get everything done. If you want to learn a new skill, if you want to go to some exotic place, you can get it all done, but not all at once, okay? And you'll realize this when you just start executing on having great days. And that's what this episode is all about. I will show you how to create great days so that you have enough time, enough energy, and great emotions so that you can love your days, love your weeks, love your months, love your life. Okay? So I hope you enjoy this episode. I poured my time and energy and emotion into it. So see you on the inside. Welcome back, everybody. Andrew Love here. And I mean, why do I say that every week? Maybe you're new. If you're new, how'd you hear about us? What's going on? We're actually going to be opening up the gates here at High Noon. We're going to be aggressively going after more and more audience. Not everybody in the world, but we're going to, I should rephrase all that. We're going to open the door more. It's going to be more ajar, if you will, because we are going after more people. We're going after broadening our horizons and our audience. And the reason being is that there's a lot of people out there who are struggling their brains out. If you haven't noticed, this world is quite complex. And there's a lot of people that don't know how to successfully cope with the challenges that life brings. And so they try to run away from life through escapism. And we want to help them with that, especially with their sexual integrity, formulating a vision, living according to the plan, getting support along the way. That's what we're all about. So if you have friends, bring them. Tell people. This is the thing about High Noon is a lot of people come, they get helped, and then they leave. And they forget to tell other people about their experience because it's quite private, right? But the whole idea of High Noon is that the more you get it, the more you talk about it, the more that it's just a natural part of, yes, I've struggled in the past, and maybe sometimes I still do, but I'm a work in progress, and I'd love to have you on my team. I'd love for you to work on yourself too, because it's so much fun, this kind of thing. So yeah, we are going to be expanding our people soon. So that was all just talking. Today, I really wanted to address the issue of budgeting your life. And this is not me talking about financial budgets. I think that's much more Sammy's jurisdiction. He helps a lot with that in High Noon. I'm more the creative type, right? But I do have systems in order to budget my emotions, in order to budget my time and my energy, and even my spirituality. And I wanted to get into this because it's a life skill that most people don't really even know is an option, right? It's so let me just unpack it, okay? Like with a budget, let's just talk about this metaphor financially. It a budget helps you to know when you're spending money well and when you're wasting money, because you've got some sort of a plan. I plan on making this much money, and I plan on spending this much on practical things like rent, like, I don't know, food, things like food, that stuff that I put in my face. And then maybe you allot some special budget for going out to fancy dinners or whatever. But at least it's a part of a plan. And it's fun because you can always know like what the scope of your financial budget is. And if you spend some time perfecting a budget, you can save money, you can invest money, you can always have maybe a little bit extra if you play within the rules that you set up for yourself. It's like an algorithm for yourself. And so I think most people understand this and have some sense. And why? What does a financial budget help? Well, because we are very likely to spend money that we don't have on things that we don't need based on emotional reactions. Like you end up on Amazon and then you buy a chipmunk collection. I don't even know what that is. You buy a random hat. You go on Amazon to buy, some AC adapter, some USB, cable, and you end up buying 5 sweaters because they were on sale. This is how they get you. And they know this, right? So you go on, let's say Facebook or some sort of social media just because you want to zone out, and you end up buying some product. It happened to me the other day. I was on Facebook Marketplace because I'm buying some very practical things for my practical life. And then all of a sudden, I see this ad for this mini Jeep that's like gas powered, looks like a go-kart, but it's like an army Jeep, and it looks like it's made out of real stuff. And it was $119. And I was like, I want that. And then I was like, what? How did they get me? I didn't get it, obviously. I snapped out of it. But that's how they get you. So that's just with money. And of course, money is important because it allows us to do many things. But you know what's more important than money? Your soul. How about your time? How about your energy and emotions, right? So, of course, I'm not here to give financial advice. I'm the last person that should be doing that. But I, over the years, I'm getting older. I've found ways to make life great and to live within my means. It's a great skill. But also, much more importantly, to get through my days, I've had to figure out ways in order to structure my energy and my time and my emotions so that I can have successful days. And when you have multiple successful days, it adds up to a great week. And if you have a great week, etc., etc. So it's your life. And if you don't set up your days and structure your days in a way where you're playing some sort of game that you can win, then it's very likely that you're going to end up wasting time, wasting emotion, wasting energy on the wrong things. So just like this analogy of, at the grocery store, you go to buy some very practical things. Maybe even you write a list. I've never been a list writer for groceries, but I always have it in my mind what I need to get. Right before you check out is when they have all the impulse buy stuff. In those big grocery stores, or even in like Super Walmart, Super Target, they'll have magazines, junk food, a lot of chocolate bars and stuff. But they also have toys for kids. And if there's a long line, that's when your kids, if you start having kids, start to get the crankiest. They're like, when are we going to go home? And they're like, they can see the finish line. They start to get antsy. And that's when parents are like, I could pacify my kid by giving them a candy bar or a toy. And this is exactly why it's like that. These are called impulse purchases. We do the same thing. If you think about your browsing experience, how many impulse purchases you make with your time, how many times throughout your day that you end up cruising the internet with no place to go, nothing to do. You are just wasting time like you're made of time. Guess what? You're not made of time. Time is made of time. We're made of matter. And energy, I don't know math. What am I trying to do? I was about to do a mathematical equation. All I'm trying to say is that matter kind of dissipates and dwindles over time, and you get older, slowly, wrinkly, your bones get weaker, et cetera, et cetera. That's what happens when you just let time slip away. You wake up one day and you're 97 years old. Don't waste your time. So here's the hack, okay? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was talking to some people recently, some people that I mentor, and very few of these people that I connect with have a budget for their life. So let's start with the very basics. Do you structure your days? Yes or no? And by structure your days, I mean write out what your day is going to look like, either in the morning, right before the day starts, so that you have a vision for your day, or the night before. I'm a night before kind of guy. If I'm really out of hand because I have a big week and I just want to visualize my week, I'll write a few days in advance. I'll write out my schedule based on what I've committed to already in my calendar. So these are meetings that I have, based on things that I want to do and need to do. And then also allowing for breaks, allowing for going to the gym, allowing for these things in my days so that I can fit everything into my day. Here's why this is important. You will get stressed out and you will feel like you never have enough time to get everything done unless you make a budget to get the important stuff done. You will never have enough time to learn that language, to learn that instrument, to upgrade your awareness of AI or these important things that you feel like, oh, it feels important, but I don't have time. Everybody has time. And the thing that we always cite in High Noon is like, if you don't have time, if you say that you don't have time, at least look at your phone. You can buy your time back by spending less time on your phone. Your phone every week on Sundays will give you a report for how much time you spent on your phone. That's per phone in general, but also per app specifically. How much time did you spend in Instagram, on video games? It'll tell you all that, and it's somewhat confronting. And it will even tell you you've used your phone more, like 20% more than the week before, or something like that. And it's good to look at it generally because, like, how much am I relying on my phone, but also specifically to see how often you're using specific apps, because sometimes the number is shocking, to be honest. It's like one time it said I was using my phone for 10 hours a day. And then I was like, what are you talking about? And then I looked and it's like all the linked accounts. So it was also my kids who do some of their homeschooling on their apps and stuff like that. So that included in my account. But it also included when I listen to podcasts or when I listen to music. So I was like, okay, chill. Because sometimes I listen to music while I'm just reading or whatever. So the details do matter. But you have time. And when you start to budget your time, you realize that there's always enough time for everything that you want to do in due time. Maybe not everything right now, but eventually you will be able to structure your life to get everything done that you want to get done. And you can be as productive as you want, so long as you write it down. I have somebody in my life that I'm not going to mention because it'll sound like a judgment. I may or may not be married to this person, right? But this person, who I may or may not be married to and share a life with, never writes anything down and constantly feels like, I'll do that later, I can't do that. And so every once in a while, I may have to sit with said person who I may or may not be married to and help them to organize their life in a way where they can get everything done so that they stop being stressed out about never having time and just do stuff. I don't do this in a condescending way or like I'm not this person's life coach, because I may or may not also be this person's husband.
Hey, if you happen to be a single person that wants to prepare well for marriage, for the matching, for the blessing, then my friend, we actually have a program just for you. It's completely free. You can join the core program at highnoon.org. We're going to take you through the stages to figure out, what does it mean to be a marriageable person? What does it mean to be ready? How do you actually prepare for marriage and the blessing? Check it out at highnoon.org. Join us in the program called core. All right, see you there.
But just in a way to like consult. I'm a consultant, because I've had to do this. I have 3 kids. I have a lot on the go. And if I don't structure my life in a certain way, then I will never have enough time. And this is the crazy thing is I always have enough time so long as I visualize what I want to do and write it down. And eventually I'll make time to get everything done that I need to get done. So the first thing is time. If you look at time, what are the things that you really want to get done and need to get done? Write those down. And this doesn't just mean if you're a student, your schoolwork or a part-time job. It's also hanging out with friends. One of our relatives just came to the realization that they love animals and need to be with animals. And we don't have any animals in our family. And so we realized there are certain ways that we can get that quality animal time. By visiting zoos or going to people's houses who have pets and spending animal time. There's always time. That fills them up. Okay, let's figure out once a month, do you need to be with a pet? Let's go find you a pet to touch and to play with and to hug and whatever. That's great. There's time. Oh, what? You like being outside and going on hikes? There's time for that, right? You need to be out in nature. You need to be alone, but you live with a lot of people. You'll find time if you make time to do that. There's always time. So main point here is there's always time for everything. You have to make it. And sometimes, like I think I've said this before, Benji and I for sure, when you have no sense of time because your time is not yours because you have little kids, especially if you have a newborn or something like that, it feels like you don't even have a second by yourself. For your own sanity, make time for yourself. Ask your spouse, can you please just take over for the babies for an hour? I need to go sleep or I need to go zone out and stare at a wall. I said this when we were on the world tour recently. After a big event or a lot of action, I would say, okay, I'm just going to go to my room and stare at the wall for a bit because that's what I needed to do. It kind of diffuses the monkey brain, which is moving a million miles an hour. I'm just, letting my thoughts slow down a little bit. And so there's time for everything. Write it down. Write it down. My recommendation is that you look at your weeks, what do I need to get done in my weeks, and then you structure your days. And here's where so budgeting energy is structuring your days like a hypothesis. So I do it the night before. And this is why, because I imagine, okay, what is tomorrow? Which day of the week? Every day of the week has a different feeling. Monday is very different from Friday, very different from Wednesday, very different from Saturday. So all of them have their own kind of characteristics. So you look at the day that's coming up and you say, okay, let's say it's a Tuesday. Hello, Tuesday. I usually feel like this on Tuesday, okay, energetically. I usually have more energy in the morning. I'm usually more creative at that time. I usually start to get a little sleepy in the afternoon. This is hypothetical. Get a little sleepy in the afternoon. And then you start to imagine what you should be doing at these times of days, factoring in all the work that you need to get done, all the fun that you want to have, all the things you want to learn, etc. You think about the stuff that you need and want to do, and then you think about the day and where those fit in, and you create a hypothesis for a day. And you say, this feels like it would be a great day. This is how I'm going to do it. And let's say you have some non-negotiables. Let's say you have meetings or certain work that has to get done because it's in your schedule. Great. But think about what you want to do immediately before or immediately after in order to make that more enjoyable or to get sufficient energy. So for me, I have early meetings every Wednesday because that's when all of our staff meets up. And so lately it's been like 7 a.m. I typically don't like to get started work that early. I like to start my day with my kids and stuff, but every once in a while I'll have these early meetings. So, okay, fine. The way that I make it fun is I get up an hour earlier. I kind of relax. I do my morning routine, and then I get a nice cup of coffee so that it's enjoyable right when I start my meeting. It's perfect. And if I have that coffee too early, then I'm already kind of lost that peak. So timing my caffeine, right? Timing my prayer, timing my everything is like I got into a rhythm so that those 7 a.m. meetings are not a burden. I like them. And it's all a part of this hypothesis, right? So that's energy, is figuring out the order of things to do. I would say most people are more creative in the morning. So that's a better time to do things like make a podcast or this kind of, you know, artistic, creative, right side of your brain kind of activity. And then in the afternoon, do more logistical stuff. Now, if you want to get into the weeds, you can look up people like Andrew Huberman or whatever, who really look at even like when, if you drink caffeine, when you should drink it in order to maximize kind of longevity, and also, you know, what to eat and all that in order to maintain energy. Everybody's a little bit different. If I have a really heavy lunch, I have to struggle to stay focused in the afternoon. Like if I have a big pasta meal or a sandwich or something with carbs, I definitely feel a dip in my energy at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I try to stay away from that stuff and try to keep things a little bit lighter at lunch. But this is all just from practicing having a great day, noticing how to start my day. Because I used to have amazing mornings and then terrible afternoons. I'm like, oh, okay, so part of that is the lunch that I eat. That's a part of my budget. I need to budget what I eat in order to figure out how to have enough energy, budget my energy, right? So that's energy. And in terms of emotion, like structuring your days so that you have the emotions you want first. This is why North Star goal work is important, and meditation and prayer in the morning, hunduke, these traditions that we have in our movement, in order to start your day with intentionality. So you have the good emotions so that you feel stable, your mind is clear, your heart is clear before the day hits you. It's like you wake up before the day, and you wake up the day and you say, good morning, day. I'm here. Let's go have fun. Instead of the day sitting on your head being like, get up, get up, get up. And then you're just falling behind from the get-go, right? So emotionally speaking and energetically, structuring time to meditate throughout the day, I think, is a baller move if you can. If not, even just budgeting 5 minutes here, like the Pomodoro method is that you only work for, let's say, 55 minutes every hour, and then you take a 5-minute break. It could be you work for 50 minutes and then take a 10-minute break. The idea is that you're much more productive if you don't just work continuously for 3-4 hours. That's how you can work, you can grind it out, but it's not where you're going to get the best ideas and the greatest motivation. It's better to work very focused for a certain amount of time, then stop, breathe, remember what you're doing and why you're doing it, and then start with a new energy. So every hour on the hour, you're starting fresh you're attacking your day. It's so nice. But you know that feeling. Let's say you're studying for a test, you study for like 3 hours straight, and you start to feel like your brain is melting. Same, or you're working on a document or a task. If you're in the zone, great. But for the most part, we just kind of force ourselves to be in a very unnatural state of grunt work. And the enjoyment that we feel from life lessens when we live like that. So it's really good to structure in your day opportunities to first reset and recalibrate through like stopping and meditating or just breathing or getting outside, moving your body, and then emotionally getting into the state that you want to be. If you want to be more pensive and reflective, then you're going to have to stop your logistical brain. Let's say you have to write an essay. Let's say you have to have a deep conversation. You don't want to go straight from doing some sort of mathematics to some sort of deep conversation. You want a chance to like breathe out the math and then to pivot into a more emotional state. Breathing helps with that. Prayer helps with that, getting into your heart. Because throughout the day, I've noticed that we are typically in our minds for the majority of the day. We have to remember to get into our bodies sometimes by getting physical, getting into our hearts sometimes to remember what's really important. All this is going to go away. At some point, everything that you know is going to go away. Anything matter and material has to, by law, fade away and then repurpose itself into something else. That's people, pets, all that. So when you stop hustling and trying to get to the next thing and just chill and remember that everything is grace, everything in your life is grace, to remember that everybody in your life is there for you to love, to give and receive love with, and like get back in your heart. That's a sacred time. And so to do that throughout the day is unbelievably helpful so that you create better stuff with more intentionality. So time, energy, and so I think it's really helpful, honestly, to see these things as finite resources, even though they're not. Like energy, we're made of energy. We can get as much energy as you want. I know that sometimes when people are falling asleep during a lecture or something really boring, they're like, I got no more energy. It's just because your mind is disengaged, so your body starts checking out. But in that very same moment, if you're falling asleep and you saw something really exciting, you saw an alien land or something, you'd be filled with energy. It's just where you're putting your focus, right? So a lot of times our mind just wanders and drifts, and that's when we start falling asleep. That's why when you drive late at night, if you're listening to music, your mind drifts and you start to get sleepy, which makes you a very dangerous driver. It's way better when you're on a long drive to listen to a podcast because your mind is engaged and focused. It's much easier to stay awake. This is true throughout your days too. So in order to really sustain a high level of energy, you need to focus your mind, your thoughts. Where am I putting my mind? And then when you put emotion behind that, then that's when your thoughts have power because they're connected to something. So we can always plug into limitless energy and limitless love by connecting with Heavenly Parent. But just in terms of your day, if you really think about your days and if you consider structuring your life so that you do have finite energy every day, let's say like, just like your phone shows like bars, if you know yourself, then you know when you're going to burn through those bars of energy, of emotion, of time. And that's when you compensate for that by either, okay, like for me, after lunch, I seem to lose energy and I don't want to drink more coffee because that's when you create this crazy loop of needing coffee to stay awake. Not good. So instead, I have to be careful to not burn all my bars by eating a heavy lunch because that's just going to be inevitably sleepy town. So light lunch, keep the bars longer, right? So yeah, when you think about it like finite resources to be managed every day, of course we can replenish ourselves continuously, but rather than just like with money, like, yeah, you could be a millionaire tomorrow, but if you waste money, then you'll probably waste that $1 million too. So instead of learning how to live within your means and accumulate wealth by being reasonable, like that's the better option is to just be reasonable. Don't spend more money than you need to. And then you can accumulate wealth. Because if you're always needy, there's never enough, then there's no end to that neediness. Same with emotion, energy is like, I never have time. Make time, live within your time budget, do the things that you say you're going to do, and you can start to create time wealth where you have enough time for everything. Same with energy wealth, where there's enough energy throughout your day to get everything done. And emotional wealth, where you have enough emotions to do great things and feel great about yourself and about life and to feel connected to God because you're not drained. You're not spiritually and emotionally poor, right? So I feel like this is very practical and maybe a little bit boring. I don't know, because I'm not talking with you. I'm just talking at you. But this is kind of really basic stuff that we just aren't typically taught. Maybe you have a system. Maybe you have some sort of daily planner or something like that. I can't live without mine. And I realize that, this is a common theme for people who are struggling with porn is that they have gaps in their time or their energy and their emotion. And because of that, they fill that void with porn, with escapism. But if you budget your time better, your likelihood of wanting to zone out and drift away and escape life will be less and less and less and less from a practical purpose. There's still emotional reasons why, but if you budget your emotions, guess what happens? You have time to work on yourself because you don't feel drained all the time and you're not just resentful for life. Why is my life like? You can sit and be with yourself. You can get it all done. Mind, body, heart, spirit. You need some sort of budget for these things. I hope this was helpful in terms of contextualizing what that looks like. If you have any questions, as always, please reach out and we're happy to talk to you because we budget our time well, so we always have enough time to respond to your questions. So anyway, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you next week.
Hey, just a quick intermission to let you know that High Noon has a program just for single people that want to prepare well for marriage. So if you happen to be one of those single people that wants to be a stellar, fantastic, amazing, marriageable man or woman, then check out the core program, which you can find at highnoon.org. It is just for single folks like you who want to get ready for marriage and be ready for marriage. So join that at highnoon.org and we will see you in the core program.